Today we're going to talk about two major factors in the construction industry. One is materials and the other is labor. There's an article actually in a forum, Ag Talk, about the price of lumber as reported nationwide. But first, we're going to talk about the labor realities. One of the videos we did a few weeks ago had to do with labor cost and finding good help. And there was a comment that was interesting from a viewer that said, what's the matter? You can't find, people that'll work cheap for you. Kind of like an indictment of builders that maybe they're trying to underpay. And maybe that's the case. There may be builders that try to underpay. And the implication was that, you can't find, what this person called monkeys to work for construction for a cheap price. In our experience, and if you're a builder, you can tell us, it's actually the opposite. We can find plenty of what this person called monkeys. I won't use that term, but what most people would call kind of drone or kind of just day laborer types. We can find plenty of those. And in our projects, we pay $35 to $40, sometimes $50 an hour for entry level construction workers. Medium skills, can swing a hammer, that knows how to take direction. They're not doing any kind of high-end craftsmanship or high-end contracting or skilled labor. It's more just job site labor. And depending upon the project and exactly what the nature of the work is, it goes between $35 and $50 per hour is what we pay. There's plenty of those. Those are a dime a dozen. The problem is that, first of all, those people, even at that rate, will show up for a couple days, get some money, and then not show up for a week. They needed that money for some bill or for some, whatever their lifestyle is, and then they disappear. And even at that rate, those people are unreliable. They're not performing well on the job site. They're not taking direction well. The bigger problem is finding people that we want to pay more. We want to pay $80, $90, $100 an hour for higher skill. People that you can just tell them, look, detail, mark this wall, frame this, file these construction plans. And in some cases, we've tried to elevate people up and give them the training to go from 45 or 50 to 60 to 70. And we tell them, look, you could be at 120, 130 an hour, your labor rate, paying you, if you can get to this level, and we'll give them the training, and they can't get to that level. So those entry-level $35 to $50 an hour people, that's not a problem finding them. Sometimes they don't show up, but even if they don't, there's more that'll come down the pipeline. It's more about finding the higher-end people. So that's more of what the problem is. And if you're a builder, let us know what your experience is with that. Now, the other side of the cost equation is materials. Here is a report from a user that went to Home Depot, and we don't recommend big box stores for professional use just because a lot of times the service isn't as good and the price isn't really that great. But they found that there's a big change in price from 18 months ago, and they loaded up their truck with looks like some 2x10, some 2x4s, and some sheet stock, and they spent about $800 for a truckload, which isn't bad. And a lot of the comments below reported the same thing. They also reported that they were having a tough time getting assistance with employees of the big box store. And this is something that we see a lot of. You go to the store, you buy your products even at the pro desk, and there's nobody really to help you either source it or load it. Where if you go to a local lumber yard or a pro distributor, and they deliver, right? You tell them what your lumber materials list is, they'll price it out, send you an invoice, and they'll deliver it. Or even if they don't deliver, if you need it right away, you can drive into the yard and they have people that will load it. So it may be that the lumber yards are having the same problem as builders, finding people that are that kind of staff that can do kind of day labor or semi-skilled labor. But the lumber prices are down. We see that not down to where it was 3-4 years ago, but it's down from where it was a year and a half ago, which makes some of the project bidding a little bit easier, but there is still some volatility, and more important, there's some products that aren't showing up. We are finding that the quality of a lot of the sticks isn't as good. There's more knots, there's more cutouts, not quite as clear span materials, and sometimes it's even created inspection permit problems. If there's enough of a chunk removed in a stud wall, the inspector might not approve it. You might have to replace it with a clearer piece of stick. So let us know what your thoughts are in the comments, and if this experience matches what you're seeing in your neck of the woods.